Super License F1 podcast. My name's Rodney.
And my name is Zach.
Shut up for a second, Zach. We're not doing Super License this week. We're doing Dare to Swear, where we watch Drive to Survive and we talk shit over the top of it.
So now you do want me to talk then?
When it's your turn, yes.
As opposed to talking over the top of each other like usual, we're going to talk over some people who were recorded in the past. That's talking.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. How are you feeling? Do you feel like you're in the mood for this?
You know what? I just need to shut everything out. I'm just going to look back at a different time.
That's right.
I feel well rested after no Grand Prix this previous weekend.
That's right.
Thankfully, there wasn't too much other sport on, except there definitely was. But you know what? It's been nice to just kind of recalibrate afterwards. I do have one question for you, though, Rob.
Oh, okay.
Well, not a question so much as a statement. How about Lando Norris? Old mate Lando getting one done over on him, having his watch stolen. That was horrible.
I didn't even hear about this. What are you talking about?
Yeah. He went to the football.
He was at Wembley
Euros final at the Wembley.
I saw that. Yeah,
and he was mugged.
What?
Yep, they took his expensive watch. He was unharmed.
Definitely Jensen
rattled
Button.
him. Yes. Yeah, very
getting
very
his own
JP.
back. Remember Jensen Button said, "Oh yeah, we were in our hotel room and we definitely got mugged and they stole all our jewelry." And they were like, "Did this really happen?" He was like, "Definitely, 100% definitely happened." And they were like, "There's no evidence that backs up this happening." He's like, "Nah, lots of them.
Yep.
They were big too. Ooh, big guys." Mugged us. And I'm sure that's an unsolved case because I don't know, something about it sounds kind of dodgy. But anyway, I just wonder whether he saw Norris there and was like, the perfect crime. Who's going to suspect a fellow F1 driver?
What if it's an ongoing thing where it was actually Norris who did the initial stealing from JB?
The perfect crime.
And he's
like
more than just stealing his stuff. He stole his talent too.
Ouch. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. This is like a
Space
Netflix
Jam
spin-off.
style.
Yes, Netflix style. Well, look, I don't know for sure whether that's going to happen and feature in this week's episode or not. Can you remind us what the episode title is that we're going to watch this week?
No Regrets.
No Regrets.
Season 3, episode 8. No Regrets.
Sometimes titles are just ironic.
So,
dear listeners, yes, we're gonna talk over the top of this episode. If you would like to do that, Zach is going to count down and hit play, so you can cue it up and hit play whenever. Well, really whenever we do, unless you want to be out of sync, which really, why would you bother doing that if you're going to be out of sync? But anyway, I guess close enough is probably good enough. And if you don't want to watch along, that's fine too. We'll do our best to stop it from being too random. Although if you've ever heard me talk, I make no promises.
You know what? I'm not going to make any promises either. I want to get in the bloody kitchen sink, get in sync. Are you ready to go? I'm going to count down.
Count us down.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
And then we say da-dun.
Dun-dun.
We could add a da-dun to the intro music instead of the car revving past. It could go dun-dun when we do that as well. We're seeing Lando Norris do lots of online stuff. He's being extremely online right now.
Yes. Yeah, he's like, I'm just going to call Carlos Sainz. I can imagine Carlos Sainz was both annoyed, but then not too upset about being called. Do you think Carlos Sainz knows what online streaming is?
This is going to sound like an insult, but I don't mean it to be one. But I think Carlos Sainz lives in Carlos Sainz world. You know what I mean? I think he's just, in his brain, he's experiencing a different world than we are. Like he's just got an entire different layer over the top of the world that is just his world.
Yeah, a different kind of bubble, I suppose, that he's in. But I
think that Norris was very good for Sainz. Brought out a lot of great elements of his personality.
Yeah, I find it's Sainz at Ferrari now with Leclerc. They're two serious boys. They are two grown-up. We're at grown-up teams. We're going to be grown-up serious boys all the time.
That's very true. Like they're virtually like polar opposites, really. Leclerc and Norris, aren't they? In that respect.
Yeah, exactly. So, that's right.
Like Leclerc just doesn't give Sainz anything to kind of bounce off of or like riff on. There's no riffing. Definitely no riffing at Ferrari. It's a riff-free zone.
Yeah, Ferrari is a referee zone. They're a serious grown-up brand. You know, people, which is insane because sports cars are inherently silly.
Exactly.
Which is right. But, like, I think that goes along with the just, we're a design technology company and we're for grown-ups and, you know, there should be no, like, it's fun to drive a car, but you don't have a really fun life. Like, that's, I don't know. Ferrari's a bit of a weird brand, I think, in that sense. Because, you know, I don't particularly think of Ferrari as, like, cutting edge either. Like, out of the Formula One brands, like, Ferrari's not the innovator, is it?
I don't know. I mean, they're more luxury, I suppose, high-end, like, I don't know. I think of them as luxury and prestige and passion, more passion than
Yes,
innovation. You know what I mean?
it's a romantic, almost.
Yes, that's a very good way to put it. Are they in Hawaii? Are they playing golf in Hawaii here? What's going on?
I don't know if they're in Hawaii.
It's beautiful.
It might be Spain.
Is this his backyard? Is he playing? Did he make his own golf course in his backyard?
Well, it wouldn't surprise me if Carlos Sainz and Carlos Sainz. We've got the two Carlos Sainz here,
Papa
one
Sainz.
senior and junior.
Yes.
Papa Sainz. Yeah. Do you reckon? Like, so Sergio Garcia is the famous Spanish golfer, right? Very good.
Okay. You're giving yourself congratulations there.
Yeah, no, but I'm just thinking. I wonder if, like, when we talk about bubbles, like, do you think that that these two, that the Sainzes know top golfers if they're wandering around doing golf stuff?
They're probably like summer together. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Hope there's no regrets though.
You know, he's talking about joining Ferrari there, and you know, you basically can't say no, right?
You kind of can't though.
When was the last time Ferrari won a World Championship?
I was going to say, unless you're at a contending team. If you're not in the top two contending teams, and or Ferrari isn't one of those two teams, then you go to Ferrari.
Yeah, yeah. But like, does someone younger than Lando Norris? Are they like, yes, I've got to race for Ferrari at some point in my career. What an opportunity. Or is it just, well, they're one of the best
This
four
is where
teams?
it gets really funny, because you look at Sainz and the trajectory that he was on, almost virtually like going to get catapulted out of Formula One on account of him being in the Red Bull Junior, series. For his career to kind of U-turn back and end up at Ferrari is amazing. But for Leclerc to be a hot young talent, really racing the wheels off his cars, for him to be at Ferrari, it's almost like, what a waste. So it depends on who you are and where you are in your career. But I don't know. I still think if you're not at the team that's going to win, or the team that's challenging the team that's going to win, you still want to be at Ferrari, I reckon. Because if you're going to be in the midfield, why not be in the midfield and then driving a Ferrari on the weekends? Or, you know, I guess the Formula One drivers, their weekend is like Tuesday and Wednesday or something, but still.
Well, the roads are quiet on those days.
That's
in
true.
the middle of the day, everyone's
They
aware.
make great time.
So, yeah, and you've got nowhere to go to. But yeah, great time between your house and the golf course.
That's exactly right.
This is an interesting thing, right? Because this whole thing, Jenny Gow's talking now about, he's going to leave for Ferrari, but McLaren knows that Sainz, he's got to do the rest of the season. So that puts everybody in an awkward position, especially Zach Brown, and he's not a guy who wants to be in awkward positions. He wants things to be fun but also good. It must be. It's a little bit like Ricciardo leaving Renault, because both of those teams felt like we're on the upwards trajectory. Like, and they probably look at Ferrari and be like, "What are you going to like?" Especially Zach Brown must look at Ferrari and be like, "Look, I mean, I know it's Ferrari and they're a big brand and all that kind of stuff, but McLaren has a lot of
they're not a small
incredible
brand.
Formula One history as well,
yeah,
and a lot to offer." It's enough to pull Ricciardo from Renault or Alpine into McLaren. Did Carlos Sainz maybe sense something at McLaren that was like, well, I'm not really like Lando. Maybe he knew the Lando was the boy, and that's kind of it. That like he's not going to be able to make his way at McLaren, and when Ferrari calls, you answer.
Yeah.
Would you make that choice? Would you have jumped?
There's a lot of overlap between Ferrari land and Carlos Sainz world, I think.
Yes.
A lot of overlap.
That's
not just on the track either.
You do want to be able to say you were a Ferrari driver, right?
I mean, I do.
Like if I offered you this choice, it's like, hey, you win races at McLaren, or you'll never win a race for Ferrari, but you'll be there for part of your career. What would you prefer?
I think you'd always want to win. If you're like a backmarker driver who wins one race, I mean, that's amazing. That's an incredible story. That's better than 10 years, poodling around in the midfield with Ferrari. But not winning with, Alpine versus not winning with Ferrari, it's a no-brainer.
Yes. I wonder if that's the thing, though, for Sainz. Like, because you might only get a couple of years at Ferrari, right? I mean, if it's not working out, like it's also a precarious position. If you're coming to Ferrari not as a serial winner, like I don't think Charles Leclerc has got any problems. But Carlos Sainz, they've kind of brought him in as like, you're going to be the safe pair of hands and we expect you to really push. But there's absolutely no reason to keep him longer than a couple of years if it's not working, or if there's a new hot driver who could come in, like they can just keep
one of the
Leclerc
problems as well is, like, can you think of any drivers that went to Ferrari then went somewhere else and did really well? Like, it's really hard to think of kind of anyone.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. We've got Jenny Gowd literally talking about McLaren Daddy there, saying like it's a father-son relationship between Zach Brown and Lando Norris.
I mean, isn't Lando Norris everyone's son?
Well, he's definitely our son. He might not know it. And it's a weird time to like kind of announce it on a podcast kind of about his ex-co-driver.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's our son.
And he's your son too, listeners. And he's England's son, basically. What's I wonder if Lando will ever lose that sort of cheeky character. Like, you can kind of see, I don't know, I can kind of imagine, like, any year when it gets really tense, I can just imagine that sort of, foolhardy attitude might dissolve a little bit.
Will he go the Sebastian Vettel route where it just the switch is flicked and suddenly he's not the boy anymore? Like at kind of age 25, 26, where it's like, you're not a kid, you're not a little baby face. It's like, and it will just be like,
it becomes a slog after
remember the transition.
A while. Yeah.
I feel like Verstappen's going through that a little bit.
Yeah, maybe, but I mean, what's helping him is he's winning races. I mean, if you slog it out for whatever, nearly 10 years, and then you're still like, why haven't I won a championship yet? It might get a little bit harder to just go in every week in, week out. Especially when we're probably going to end up doing like 36, 30, 49 races a year, something like that. So it's not going to get easier.
Every day. Well, that's Daniel Ricciardo's situation, right? He's been the fun, laddie guy.
He's been
his whole career. He's been in Formula 1
a little bit
now.
less fun lately. I mean, it's still part of his character. It's like, it's just who he is. So, yeah, unless he's particularly pissed off, he can still draw into that because it's just who he is. I guess it's who Lando is as well. But I feel like, I don't know. I feel like Daniel, when he gets annoyed, can still sometimes use his whatever character, his larrikin character, to cheer himself up. Where I'm not sure that I don't know that I've seen that from Lando. And I mean, obviously he's had a reasonably good run in Formula One so far, you'd have to say. But I wonder when the years get lean and disappointment, becomes a continual thing, whether that character will change or not.
Yeah, when the team gets better as you get older, like, and as the team kind of comes to you, that's always good for your career, right? Because as Lando was literally just saying, it's like, first season, rookie season, with Carlos next zone, there was a lot of slack. And so it was kind of you only remember the good parts because you expect the bad parts. But the team's gotten better as he's gotten more comfortable in Formula One. So he hasn't had that, that season of where it's like, I'm better than the car now. Which is always a difficult thing for Formula One drivers to contend with. But I mean, it's just the tyranny of age as well. Like, he will not be, like, unfortunately, Lando Norris will not be the cool young person in a couple of years' time. Like, regardless of how often he streams and how, like, up to date he stays with the trends of young people, there will be new young drivers who will be doing it better than him, who will do their TikTok dances better or will be on the new app more than
true.
he is. And that will, he has carved out a generation of fans who will always follow him for, like, the next 10 years. But he will, like, they will become his limiting factor too. Like, that's his cohort of fans now, and they will follow through with him, but they age too. I don't think any new Formula One fan from, like, next season is maybe, like, they might be on Lando Norris then, but then there'll be a new AlphaTauri driver that all the young people will get behind, you know? Just like Max Verstappen's fans are probably aging now too.
Yeah. We're watching an incredibly wet qualifying session at, I think this is Spa. I mean, there's been some amazing wet races there, but it's also nice to see good dry, because it's such a good track for racing that it's like, it's a shame that it's raining.
It's weird to remember that we race at places that aren't Austria.
Remember a time? I feel like one thing that, I mean, I think I've bagged out this season, especially this season, for having, like, not enough episodes where they're like, I don't just want to watch the driver stand around next to his car before the race. I want to see new characters. I want to see their life away from the track. For whatever reason, I mean, they've got it right, I think, in this episode. We had lots of that. We all had fun on the golf course, etc. For whatever reason, they seem to get it right when they focus on Carlos Sainz. You see a lot about his dad. You see a lot about his cousin. You see a lot of him at home wearing white shorts. He looks great. But I'm not sure why they just don't get that right for all the other drivers, because that's what they want.
Yeah, maybe it's just that Carlos's family are, like, or his group are all, like, really on brand. Like, they're really all together in this. Well. Yeah, the two Carloses, you know, he's also his agent, right? Carlos's cousin, Carlos. So,
yeah, his cousin is.
Yeah, it's just like they're all putting up the same face, I suppose. There's probably not much to, like, try to change or hide in his lifestyle too. Like, it's like, cool, yeah, I have this great life. My family lives in a huge house, and I live in a huge house, and I go play golf or, you know, paddle tennis or whatever. You know, it might be a little bit easier.
Paddle tennis? What are you talking about?
That's what I think that happens in this episode. They're playing weird racquetball tennis.
Okay. Is it like squash?
No.
What's paddleball tennis?
A little bit. Well, we'll say it. It'll be in the episode,
okay.
I'm pretty sure.
When it happens, make sure you call it out.
I will. Zach Brown there saying, you never want to favour drivers. And then the camera cuts away, and it's like, and that's when he was secretly like, except Lando, because he's my young son.
He burst out laughing right after the cut. And then I told them I don't favour drivers.
And I love them regardless of whatever teams they've chosen halfway through the season to go to.
Yes, to leave us for.
Yeah.
Decent jumper on Will this week. I'll give him that. He wears it well.
It's true.
You love to see it. We've got some racing. This is where it gets exciting. Lots of noise. Lots of wheel-to-wheel action. Look at this. Go, Lando. Go, Lando. Go.
That's a fun chant. Go, Lando. Go, Lando. Go.
Yeah. People can use that at parties if they want. Or maybe at, like, watching. Have you got any watching parties lined up soon? You're in that scene of going to a pub to watch a race or whatever?
Yeah, there'll be some coming up soon. Yeah, definitely, as things are starting to open up a little bit more.
Oh, whoa. That's extremely
that
vertical.
Gap wasn't there.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
got pushed aside. What the hell indeed, Charlie? Remember when Sebastian Vettel would crash all the time?
Yeah, sure do. Good times.
Do you think Lando Norris got his name from Lando Calrissian in the Star Wars universe? Like, I don't know any other Landos.
Hard to believe he didn't, right?
Or is it all Lando?
But then where does the Lando name come from initially? Where did Lando Calrissian get his name from?
The space name, right? You just make them up.
It's a space name. It came from space.
It's like Luke, made up name.
I mean, there's
made up space name.
There's more people than you might expect now who are like in their sort of late 20s, early 30s who are called like Zelda. You know what I mean? Because 30 years ago, it was like, this is a funny, like, what a weird novelty name. I'm a big goofball, name my kid Zelda. But now, 30-year-old Zelda, that's just cool. That's a cool person.
That's true. That's true. But I think it's probably his name is Orlando. No one calls Orlando Bloom Lando Bloom. That'd be fun.
I call him Bloomy when I see him, so I don't know. Bloomstar. Bloomerino.
Get in the Bloom room.
Bloom, bloom, bloom. Come back to my room.
Oh, yes, the Flinger boys. Let Norris past. He's our son.
Look at this.
You're just some guy, Carlos. Carlos, your mind. Frustrated groaning is the tag there. Great. Is the subtitle?
Yeah, incredible. I don't have subtitles on. Yeah, if you get subtitles on, I'm not seeing any.
Just turn them on yourself.
I'm seeing them sometimes when they're in the car and they're like talking, like you can't hear them over the radio. But the rest of the time, I don't have them.
Just put them on.
I thought when you put them on, it comes on for me. Apologies, listener. Please bear with us. Subtitles off. Should I put on? Should I stick with English subtitles or simplified Chinese?
No, traditional Chinese.
Traditional? No, that's too advanced. Stick with English, I think. Here we go. Now I'll be able to understand what's going on. No, man, this makes so much more sense now.
It's going to be a tight finish. It's a photo finish. Never a photo finish in Formula One. Never happens.
I mean, there's 7 bajillion cameras there. Technically, every finish is a photo finish.
All right. So the story of this episode then is that this was the moment where it was like, Lando, you're the next thing, and we're glad that Carlos is leaving because he's junk.
We're glad you have arrived, my son.
Yeah. Well, does that, McLaren probably is like, oh, there's a whole fucking farm of, late 20s, early 30s F1 drivers who have been around for more than 5 years who are okay that we could just go and put in this car. If it's not Daniel Ricciardo, it's Romain Grosjean, or it's Sergio Perez, or it's Kevin Magnussen. There's a whole bunch of guys around.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, that's a whole generation, really. They've been replaced as the young guys by this new young generation. They're the midfielders of age. The midfielders of age. They're not the old-timers, but they're not the young guys either.
Well, it's that kind of it's the missed generation. Like, I would say that, Daniel Ricciardo to kind of like Carlos Sainz, like that age bracket, they didn't win anything because Lewis Hamilton.
Just imagining Sainz trying to kick out the chair from behind like Charles Leclerc. Fucking hell, he would have got murdered.
I don't think that was like, that's banter, but that's edgy banter.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that is like, I'm joking, but I'm also kind of not joking. Fall on your ass, get down on the ground right now. Yeah,
if there weren't cameras and stuff here, I would be angry.
You've nailed it on the head there. He knows he's being watched, and he's like, I can get away with this.
Yeah.
As a joke. That's what it is. He wouldn't have done it if no one was watching, because it would come across as like, well, who are you doing this for? It's just you and me.
Yeah. I think Carlos definitely would have. He has the vibes of like a older brother, vibes of like, yeah, but it's just banter, like, shove you around and stuff. But then if you hurt me, it's serious.
Yeah.
Like, you could have like,
don't
just
touch
like,
me.
like shove Lando over and break his leg and be like, yeah, but you're fine. Like, it's your fault that you hurt yourself. Like, it's just bants. This is just jokes. Like, be tougher. Whereas if, Lando, stole Carlos's golf clubs and threw them in the sea, Carlos would be like, don't you know I got those custom made by a guy who's now doesn't make them anymore? Like, why would you even do that? Why would you take something really serious?
You always have to go and take it too far. Like, I know how to have a joke, but you take it too far.
Yeah, your jokes
What's even going on in this
My
race?
jokes are
this
good.
Is a junk race. This is very dramatic, and I find it very effective. This name's falling down the list.
Yes.
It works well. It works in a way that I think putting up the tweets doesn't necessarily work. Interesting thought, Rod. I don't agree, but it's interesting.
No, I agree with you. I mean, this show does a really bad job of showing, like, the season, like, over time. It just pulls out specific moments, and then you're like, where are we? What was this again?
This race looks incredible. I mean, I know the last one was okay, but this one looks amazing.
Yeah. Oh, this is the one where Lando had the funny helmet. I love that.
The funny helmet.
Yeah. The one designed by the kid.
Worse at McLaren.
I mean, but is it though? They both had a bad race, it turned out. Lando went from 4th to 5th, and then, Lando went from 4th to 5th, and then Norris went to 4th and 5th. I mean, Carlos went from 10th to 11th. Like, they both did badly. Like, is this meant to tell us that he was just having lots of bad luck, or that he was doing badly? Because he did have lots of bad luck. When your engine breaks, it's not your fault, unless you drive it into a wall.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's, I think, obviously we're looking at it from a Formula One point of view. If you're the kind of person who's a bit more, leaping to conclusions, that type, you'd be like, well, you change teams, all of a sudden you start having bad luck on the racetrack. Not just wheel-to-wheel combat, but also your car starts breaking down. Coincidence? I think not. That's where they're going with the storyline.
Yeah, I find that disingenuous.
Oh, me too. But, I didn't direct the thing.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, they're just giving Lando the engine that works every weekend. Fuck.
Yeah.
What a shit rule it was that each team has to have one engine that works and one engine that doesn't.
Yeah.
There it is. There's the paddle.
Here we go. Okay. So that's not a cover. That's the actual thing.
Yep.
Man, I need to look at this. There's holes in it. What are the holes for?
To make sure the air runs through
Speed? Probably a bit of air. Yeah, a bit of air holes. I'm going to be making notes.
Here we go.
Going to be Googling where the local paddle tennis court is in Melbourne.
Yeah. I think it might just be called paddle. Like tennis is just called tennis.
We're going to have a game of paddle.
Yeah. We have a game of tennis. Why not have a game of paddle?
Huh. There you go.
People who actually know what this is are screaming into their headphones, into their podcast app of choice, being like, it's not
my
called
God, I'm sorry.
paddle.
I'm not in the paddle league. Jeez.
No. I
know you
have
funny paddle. Yeah.
Oh, see, like little, like they're teasy kind of jokey guys, these two.
Yeah.
See, it looks like tennis.
I mean, they didn't choose the paddle life. Paddle life
weird
chose
that
them.
Dad's wearing Red Bull gear. It's like, you're not Red Bull anymore. See?
No, but it doesn't, no, because doesn't he race for Red Bull in rally stuff?
What, his dad still?
Isn't that? Yeah,
Senior.
I think he still races in rally. Yeah.
Oh, fuck me, all right. There we go.
Well, something. It might be like what's that weird, the Dakar rally or something? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like he races in some things.
Yeah, I race in the Zakar rally.
Fuck off. I'm putting my headphones down. End of podcast.
Me and Zach Brown, we're in the Zakar rally. It is like squash because the ball can bounce off the front. You can hit it off.
Oh, you can keep hitting it. You're right. Okay. So it's a combo of squash and tennis.
Yeah, but they didn't want to call it squennis.
Well, or
Tosh?
Squiz? Squid. I can't do it the other way. Squintus was, look, you don't need me. You're doing an incredible job here. Most people don't know this, but Italy is a country that looks like a boot.
And the racetrack kind of looks like a foot.
Yeah. Foot in glove / boot.
Nope. No. You've done that. It's wrong.
Didn't work. You've fucking thrown me with your amazing jokes.
I'm on it today.
How am I going to pull it back? How am I going to pull it back? It's just, you need to give me some warning if you're going to be that funny, please.
I will. I'll do my best.
Was that Gunther Steiner lining up to get autographs there?
from Le Charles Leclerc. No, he's looking for new sponsors. He's looking.
Look,
he's always.
I mean, think about it though. Let's just think about this. You want to sign a top driver, right? You stand out there with the fans. They're signing everything left, right, and center. They don't know what's going on. They don't even know what day it is. Sign this one, Carlos. Yeah, no worries. What did I sign? You drive for Haas now.
Congrats. Wow.
Gunther Steiner, brain genius. And then he gets straight on the phone to Gene. Gene, I fucking signed him. Fucking wanker.
I got that shit guy in our team. Okay, but we got him.
Yeah, he's like, great, you signed Lando. Like, what do you mean Lando? No, I signed Carlos. Oh, no. And Gene Haas covers the mouthpiece of his phone and he whispers to his secretary, Gunther fucked up again.
Yeah, but I can't fire him. Gunter's the only person who can fire Gunter. It's really hard.
Right. He had it written into his contract that he was the only one that could fire himself. How weird is that?
And he pulled the same move on me. I signed it because I thought he was one of my fans.
Fuck. One of the Gene Haas army.
There's got to be a better name for Gene Haas army. Yeah, the Harmy? Haasy army?
Street Gene? No.
The Haaslers.
What about the skinny jeans?
Okay, yes. Great.
I'm not going to stop. The Stonewash jeans? No.
I mean, his name is
the recessive
G-E-N-E,
genes,
right? What about the recessive genes? That's where
there you
go. I was trying to get there.
Incessant. Did it say incessant chattering just then in the...
Yep, in the... Yeah, that's bullshit. These fucking McLaren guys, they never shut up.
It should just say technical bullshit.
They're looking at graphs. You don't. The show's not going to explain them to us. We just know they're important.
I hate my job as a subtitle writer. Look, I'm having a lot of fun.
I just love that they're just essentially telling Carlos, like, look, Lando's faster than you.
Go fast.
And it might just be because he's better. But we've got these graphs to show you where he's better. And if you could be more like him,
yeah. We're
not asking you to adopt his approach. We're just asking you to optimize your approach in ways that Lando might choose to optimize too.
Yes. That's right.
I, last week, in preparation for writing a quiz for the regular show, wanted to compare... I wanted to look at the team daddies, and I was going to look at Christian Horner and Zach Brown for a quiz, and it didn't quite work out. But tell you what, Zach Brown has a much bigger racing career than Christian Horner's. Like, Zach Brown was a proper racer.
You mean in terms of number of races, or? Yeah,
and different, like, had a proper racing career trajectory, whereas Christian Horner was kind of a little bit like that, but then, like, was a bit more ownery right away, like, more of a guy who was in and around the sport, as opposed to someone who was going to get into Formula One. Whereas Zach Brown, started
Zach Brown
his way
racing?
into
What
the
did he
sport
do?
was by racing. Well, interestingly, they only missed each other by a season in Formula 3.
Wait. Zach Brown raced in Formula 3.
Yeah.
What?
Formula 3000, I think.
You're a liar. Yeah. You are a fat liar.
I'm going to fucking go to the tape, mate.
Check the scoreboard, buddy. So how many years of racing in Formula 3 or comparable seasons did ZBD do?
So between 1991
okay.
and literally 2013, he raced every season competitively.
But in the what?
He raced in the German Formula 3. He raced in
sure.
He raced in British Formula 3 in 94, German Formula 3 in 96. In between 94 and 95, he did Indy Lights. He was in the American Le Mans season in 2011. He did raced in Britcar for a couple of seasons. He's done like more ceremonial races, those kinds of things. But he's been racing a long time. Like, he was the promising young star of racing from the RFA in 1986. He was the Rookie of the Year in 86, the Sports Car Driver of the Year in 86. Like,
wow.
Him and Christian Horner. Like, I think Horner raced in 95 British Formula 3 maybe, and Zach Brown was in 94, or the other way around, something like that.
Shit.
They were very, very, very close to racing each other.
You have opened my eyes.
Yeah. Zach Brown. Proper car racer. That's why he's like racing at Goodwood in like old cars and stuff, because he can actually drive really well. He's actually a good racer. His build might not look like it.
Yeah. I think, so back to the show, I think I called out this moment I think this is the second time we've seen it. And I think we've seen this bit before where Leclerc goes flying into the tyre barriers. And I was like, oh man, it's so good because you get to see it twice. I mean, I don't really always like how the show jumps around a lot, but I feel like that's one of those times where it was like, remember that huge impactful moment when that Ferrari went into at the Ferrari's home track, and then they just sort of show a glimpse of it here, and you go, "Oh, that's right, I remember this." It was well put together.
Yeah, it was. And this is the point where the regrets come in, right? Because Ferrari's having absolutely piss poor race, and McLaren's having a particularly good race, and Carlos Sainz is having a particularly good race too.
Yes.
And so, more like, no regrets or ragazzi, or whatever it is. Worst joke of the day. I'm trying.
No, that was good. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't, if you're color signs, it's like, it doesn't matter if you do good or bad. If you do good, it only highlights the contrast between the team that you're at and the team you're going to. If you do badly, well then, hey, that's sticking the boot in as well.
I suppose this is what's nice about it, though, that it's a whole team thing, right? Like, it would be difficult to switch off, even if you know you're leaving, because it's still something that's super exclusive, and you have a whole team relying on you.
Yeah.
To do well.
It's like, what kind of monster would you be to deny these people a good moment that they've worked so hard for?
Exactly. Especially when you get the other Carlos in the garage, who just is in it for these fucking moments, man.
Do it
That's
for
why
Carlos.
he's here. Yeah. I feel like because there's Carlos Sainz Senior, and there's Carlos Sainz Junior, and then there's the other Carlos.
There's the other
Should
Carlos.
we call him...
And then his sister's name is also Carlos.
But other Carlos, he needs a suffix or a prefix to his name.
Glassos.
Glassos.
He wears glasses. I don't know.
Ah, right. Okay. Oh, almost crashed into him. Jeez Louise.
But it was close. I mean, imagine that. I mean, when the win is up for grabs between two people who, you know, their chances of winning races are very few and very far between, and you come so close.
It's true. Can't wait to have one of those Australia Galicia 0% beers. Yes.
Yeah, do you reckon they're good?
They're probably fine.
My theory with 0% beer was always that they could just advertise the brand and they didn't care, you know, we'll literally manufacture a 0% beer just so we can advertise. But we'll say it's for 0%, but really what we care about is getting our brand out there. And then when you're in a pub and you see our brand, that has an effect. But someone said, no, seriously, like my brother works at an alcohol store and he's like, we cannot keep the 0% beer on the shelves. We put it on and it just sells out. It's incredible. I was like, wow. Who would have thought that?
It's good. Low alcohol beer is good. Well, 0 or low, they're nice. If there's good ones. They're also very low calorie because there's no alcohol.
You know what's also really low calorie? Not drinking that beer.
That's true, but if you're not going to drink anything, just what, you're going to drink water? In these circumstances?
I mean, by the time you're drinking a zero alcohol beer, why not have a water? Who cares? Like, who cares?
Because you want something, you like the taste. You drink. I mean, it's not like you only drink alcohol or water. You drink other things.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, you know what I don't drink is 0% beer. That's the thing I don't do. I would probably go a Red Bull or something over that.
Do you drink? Oh, this is the end of the episode.
The end of the episode. So it's two left, folks. And boy, things are getting spicy. We get down to Hamilton getting COVID. We get down to that amazing race with the big fireball. You know the one I'm talking about.
With Russell.
It's all ahead of us. I mean, sadly, I don't want to make you feel bad for listening to this one. This one I think was pretty good. Zach had some amazing lines. But yeah, there's still amazing racing and episodes ahead. So stay tuned.
Yeah. But 2 only to go. Then what do we do? We move back to doing shakedowns. Where we make
that's incredible because when we do shakedowns, we get to do content recommendations, and I have so many great ones. I'm really looking forward to it. I've been saving them up. Normally, I'm like, shit, I don't know, blah, blah, but I've got good stuff. Actually, like stuff I genuinely would recommend. But anyway, I'm saving them all for shakedown.
Not even going to give us any spoilies, any hints.
No, it won't do. Zach, this weekend is the British Grand Prix, the Silverstone, and we've got sprint racing. You excited? Sprint qualifying.
Yes, I am. I keep forgetting that I know how it works, and then the minute I think about it, I'm like, oh no, I know exactly how it works. Like, what's the problem? No, there were Fantasy GP sent out an email to everybody, being like, hey, we've explained.
I was going to say that, yes.
How this works.
How their points are going to work. It's not points for the Friday traditional qualifying format. It's points for the sprint race order. And having said that, they had to clarify again because it was a big controversy in Monaco when whoever it was took pole and then didn't. Was it Verstappen? No, it wasn't. Verstappen was second, and in pole was, I want to say it was Leclerc. No, Lando.
Yep.
Someone. And didn't start the race and didn't line up on the grid. And then they gave pole position to the other guy. And I was like, that's what I would do as well. But technically, that's not necessarily how you meant to go. But anyway, yeah, you're right. Fantasy clarified. We are giving points for the end of the sprint race. Now, what does that mean? That means that if Lewis Hamilton or Max Verstappen, lines up at the start of the grid, they're probably a good chance, a better than average chance of taking pole at the end of the sprint race. But sprint race on Saturday will then decide the starting order on Sunday. I think there's also points on Saturday. It's all very weird. I wanted to get your general impression, but I do want to wait till we see it.
I forgot about that. There's regular qualifying. That they're
on
not
Friday,
flicking a coin or pulling names out of hats to set the sprint race field. The whole thing's just, that's right. What we said was this was just
it's just a bit of the race that they put on Saturday.
A bit of the race on Saturday.
Just do a bit of it then.
Right.
That's right.
Bit of the race on Saturday.
Then we do a restart on Sunday. That's essentially what it is. Just a really long red flag.
Yeah, well, it's like you're making all the salads for the picnic on Sunday, but you sneak a little bit of potato salad on Sunday. On Saturday, sorry.
It's very much like that.
You're like,
it's the Saturday. The Saturday potato salad of qualifying.
Saturday potato salad. I am like you. I'm going to reserve judgment until it happens. I don't have a problem, I think, with changing the format a little bit throughout the season. Like that you've got some special races that have special bits. It's like, at Silverstone they actually do the sprint race qualifying bullshit, which is interesting and different because we've just come off 3 races that were basically exactly the same. Like that kind of thing is nice. A bit of spice. Just like you get some tracks where there's tunnels or there's street circuits. They're all different things, although they're at night. Yeah, why not some races?
Yeah. You could open the door to lots of variety. That would be good. Just like
swap cars.
All the time.
Reverse grids.
Only
junior drivers. Only left-handed drivers.
I'm just generally not a fan of reverse grids, but it could be anything. It could be like, Monaco, we do, 2 1-hour races instead of one race. Or I'm open to, event-specific formats. As long as they're good formats, that's the thing. I don't want shit formats. I don't want.
And this is the really difficult thing about
top
level sport and Formula One especially is that you don't get many chances to test stuff. You can really only test it live. Then it's not like they have exhibition races where they can be like, let's see how this works. It's like, nope. There's 23 races. If you want to try something, you've got to try it on a race weekend, and it's going to matter.
Yeah. So anyway, there's a few preliminary thoughts. Let us know, listeners, what you think of the prospect of sprint qualifying. Make your predictions to us if you like. Let us know how you think it's going to go, good or bad. You can do that on Twitter. We're at Superlicense. You can do it in the Discord. We're at discord.co.org.xxx/slclub.hash. And then you could also email us, superlicencepodcast@gmail.com, especially if you've had an F1 dream. Let me know about that. We might have to do that segment soon because we've been teasing it so much. and
we might just have to
get it done. Shakedowns are coming up. Yeah, that's probably a good time to actually save them for. And then, then we'll watch sprint qualifying, then the race, which is also just a sprint thing, but a bit longer. And then we'll come back and talk about it next time. Any other things that you want to talk about, Zach?
It just occurred to me that maybe I want lots of points given out for a sprint race because that could make the whole constructors and driver championship really interesting for guys who wouldn't usually get points on a big race, but on a little race could get some points. What they should do is basically just give out full points for the sprint race, except make it nearly 2 hours long and not have the Sunday race, and then just push everything back a day. That's what they should do. Sounds really good. I think that's a winner. Yeah, I think, you know what? We should put you in charge.
Yeah, I should be in charge of everything, really. Which reminds me, there's one thing I was going to mention, which is, one of the fun things about doing a podcast with you is that we get to do it all the time. We get to put them out week in, week out. We get to just do it and it's out the next day. It's amazing. But the rest of the time, the other 5 minutes that I have spare every week, I put into another podcast that I do, which is called This Must Be Talking Heads. It's all about music. It's about talking heads. But it's been 3 months since my last episode, but I just got another one out this week. So if you just can't get enough of me talking shit, I also talk shit in this other podcast, and it was a really big one. Got to interview Jerry Harrison from Talking Heads. He also had a hit song with Rev It Up. Heard of it? It's about cars. You like cars. Come on. Give it a chance. So, yeah, that's out there. And the thing is, I don't feel bad about plugging it because it's like the second cousin of this podcast. So it doesn't always get all the glitz and glamour, the prestige of this podcast, but it deserves something.
It's a better podcast than this one.
It's not. Come on.
It's more well-researched and bigger guests.
Well, bigger guests. I can't argue with that. I've interviewed 2 Rock and Roll Hall of Famers, so yeah, I can't argue with that.
Ooh, wow.
How many times were you inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Do you have a Lifetime Achievement Grammy Award? I forget.
Ooh, jeez.
How many records?
Jeez, I didn't know I was
awards?
fucking talking to Carlos Sainz Jr. here. Fucking hell. What a mean machine. Might be, look, the question on everybody's lips, Rod, is that when will you be making a Sparks podcast? That's what everybody wants to know.
Oh, fuck. If only they didn't have so many albums, that would be...
You could do an accompanying podcast to the films. You could get Edgar Wright on that show.
It'd be worth doing it to talk to him, I reckon.
Yeah. Although you seem to have cooled on him. And that's fair enough. You know what? You've got much like the young Lando Norris fans of these days, they will cool on him. And you have cooled on Edgar Wright, more like Edgar Wrong in your mind. Fair enough.
All right. Okay, look. All right. Let's just chill out. Okay. You got me giggling and I don't know how to end
I want to spark up a fight between you and Edgar, the podcast beef.
Hell. Talk about a town that isn't big enough for the two of us. Still haven't seen it though, and I would really love to see that movie. So anyway, thanks so much, Zach. Appreciate your time, and it's always great talking to you. Thank you, listener, for putting up with my goofiness and Zach's amazing, sparkling conversation for another week. We'll see you next time after the British Grand Prix. Until then, my name's been Rod.
My name's been Zach.
Talk to you after the race. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, yeah.